basically assembled the land last year, and the Forrest Kerr project consisted of 3 properties linearly along the Kerr fault. Tim and Ron Netolinsky and I kind of figured out that would be a really great place to start, and it did have a lot of historical data involved. So we spent the last year after acquiring this ground. Cornell McDowell, who's running the program for us, he did the data compilation, and I'll tell you now, it was about 100, just over 100 holes drilled historically, and I think it's about 4,000 rock samples and 20,000 soil samples. So we had a tremendous amount of soil anomalies to go check and retest, and that's what Cornell did last year and at the beginning of this season before we started drilling. So anyways, a lot of you have probably heard about Aben. What do we do? Press this one. There we go. Forward-looking statements. Okay, how do I do that? There. You can see the shares outstanding at 53.2 million, and fully diluted it's 82.2. It is relatively tightly held in terms of insiders, and there's a few institutional funds that hold, I would say, combined about 20 to 22 million shares. So it's got a reasonable float. Share price, that's not correct. It's currently in the mid-40s, low 40s. The market capitalization has obviously moved up probably about 16 million now. And that's been a major identifier for the market too, is we were a very low market cap. That we were just getting started. We had just gone through the data compilation, and now we're in the field basically starting with 2 what we thought were obvious targets. But through this data compilation, we have a very large number of areas to go pursue on this property. We've identified probably over 20 that we could go in and actually look, and that's going to take more than this year to do. We came in and we just decided to go after something we recognized and we thought it would be a good place to start. The investment highlights for Aben, we've got 3 highly prospective gold projects. We're basically an early stage explorationist. We like to take a project that has data that we can compile and relook at. The other 2 projects other than this are the Chico project in Saskatchewan, which is just south of Silver Standard's recent acquisition of Cloud Resources. It's on the same formation, the Tabernar Fault. It's got the nice shears coming off it. That's drill ready. I'm permitted for later this year, so it gives us something pretty nice to look at this winter. The other project we have in the Yukon, it's basically tied right onto Golden Predator. It's called the Justin Project. We did 2 seasons of drilling up there, 2011, 2012. I believe it was 19 holes. We hit gold mineralization in 12 of them. And what we've come up with right at the end of the boom in the Yukon was a discovery of another intrusive related gold system. That can give us either a very large, they can become large, lower grade, or distal to the whole intrusive, you can get the hydrothermal veins, potentially what Golden Predator is looking at. So that project right now, I've got a small program going on up there, just doing some more sampling and trenching. That's happening right now. But we're focused right on the Forrest Kerr. Here's an example of the chart. Last summer, you can see what happened when we announced the acquisition and putting the land package together. The stock popped up from 7 cents to 34. That was very indicative of an area play because we weren't doing anything. And I can thank Colorado mainly for that bump in the market because, our market followed their market, everything they did last year. We consolidated all year long. We were working on this data compilation, and now you can see what's happened this year once we got going. And we did a fairly good marketing program through the year to get to this point. Management, there's Ron Netolinsky's the chairman. He's been the chairman since we first got involved in the Yukon, and we were very active up there for several years. And like I said, we've still got the Justin project, and I'd like to get back to it, but it's just a question of money. My background is, I've been in the business a long time, mainly on the finance side. We did take a company and ended up selling it, Bayfield, to New Gold, right as the market was coming down through that at the end of the last bull market. And Tim Termundi, who's here, he'll be at the booth. He got his start in his whole career path working with Ron at the SNP. Tim runs a company called Eagle Plains that is very active as a project generator. Good guy to get to know. He was involved with Ron in the Copper Canyon sale to Nova Gold, I believe. Cornell McDowell, I knew Cornell from another company when I was involved with Gold Reach. We were drilling right near the Huckleberry mine for a very long time, about 130,000 meters. He was basically running the program in the camp underneath Shane Ebert. Mike Roberts worked with Kista on the RDN for many years. Very knowledgeable in the area. He's on a technical advisory board with us, and Henry Omack, who was back in the old, I guess it was Pamacon days, and the southern property that we put into the package, the Forrest property. Good team. They all got together and worked on the data compilation and decided on prioritizing targets for us. The management here is a bit of a track record. This is an interesting thing to look at. I would suggest, when you get the PowerPoint, or go on the website and have a look at it, but it gives you a little history of Ron and his achievements and, the big deals I've done. And Tim. Okay, come on. There we go. So the Forrest Kerr project, you got some basic highlights today. What's different now than what was happening in the past? Infrastructure is a massive change. It's brought costs way down. For what we've done to date, we're all in at probably the 2,500 meters, or what, just less than that is gonna. It comes in under about 800,000 basically. That blew me away when I saw those numbers come through. So we're getting good bang for the buck. We are sort of on hold right now, waiting for assays, which I think Kevin could attest to the duration that it's taking. We are, as of today, 1 month from the first assays going in, so it could be any day. We're hopeful. As far as, the areas we first went into, they had really good historic results, but weren't really followed up in the way we would do it today. The Carcass zone, where we went in first, we drilled 3 holes in there. According to Cornell, it's an ungodly place. You don't want to go in there too often and do anything, but we'll wait and see what we get out of there. The boundary zone was like heaven on earth up there. It's nice, it's flat, it's just up off a creek. It's on a shoulder. The drillers, they didn't want to go anywhere. They didn't want to move. That area had historic numbers of 11 meters of 33 grams. That's a good place to start. Didn't have a lot of follow-up. What we did is Cornell went up with a structural geo. They realized the system that they're in, they were drilling parallel. We came across it. Anyways, we'll wait to see what comes of that. This gets into infrastructure and the changes that have happened. You've got now paved roads, you've got the AltaGas camp, the AltaGas access into the southern part of our property. And the property here is that long yellow one. The southern part has access with a huge camp. AltaGas built. The power system is all in place. It's generating power for the northeast quadrant. And then the north end of the property, we've got access through the Galore Creek Road. So it's pretty convenient for mobilizing the rig. We can bring it in the Galore Creek Road and save access if we're working at the north side of the north end of the property and opposite in the south. This gives an idea of the structure. You can see we're right on the fault. So, geologically, it's quite different on one side as the other. We've been concentrating on the east side of it for now. That's where you're into the right rock packages. I'm not the expert, but the Stuhini and that, it's all there. I just ran out of time. Rats. But I told you about the other two projects as well. And there you go. There's not much left. Yeah.